The incredible delivery girl exposed 9 programmers in a life-changing moment the CEO never expected. Maya Johnson, just 23, was more than a delivery girl, she was a warrior in the bustling urban jungle. Each morning, she laced up her worn sneakers, her heart heavy with responsibility. Her mother's health was fading, and her younger brother needed every ounce of constancy she could provide for their small family. She whisked through the vibrant streets, coffee cups and take-out bags balanced delicately in her leather satchel, her dreams soaring as high as the city's shimmering skyscrapers, but that fateful afternoon, everything changed. She dashed into the glass-paneled tower of a prestigious tech company, her breath catching at the sight of the cutting-edge workspace inside. As she handed the steaming lunch to the smug CEO, known for his sharp tongue and even sharper suits, she caught sight of the 9 programmers huddled around a table, furrowed brows lost in code. A tingle of intuition sparked inside her. Something wasn't right. Maya's observational skills were honed from years of navigating a world that often overlooked her. The lines of code across the screens screamed potential failure to her. The color drained from her cheeks as she approached the table. Excuse me, she said, stumbling over her words. I think your project has some glaring flaws. They laughed. Not just a friendly chuckle but full-bodied, sarcastic laughter that echoing against the modern walls. A knot twisted in her stomach. What would you know? The CEO smirked. It stung like a slap across the face, a painful reminder of how they saw her, just a delivery girl from the streets, unworthy of their attention. That night, the weight of the day roared louder in her chest. She turned the corner, her heart racing while her thoughts tumbled over one another. But then, as if summoned by fate, she found herself face to face with Mrs. Thompson, her elderly neighbor. The warmth of the old teacher radiated hope. Over steaming cups of tea, Mrs. Thompson's stories wrapped around her like a comforting blanket. Each tale of perseverance and courage ignited a flicker of rebellion deep within Maya. And just like that, her determination snapped back to life. She resolved to gather evidence to support her insights. Her mind raced with ideas. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Excitement buzzed through her veins when the local community fundraiser finally arrived. As she began delivering food, she noticed familiar faces. In that moment, a voice erupted inside her. She paused, took a deep breath, and stepped up to speak. The crowd quieted, their eyes fixed on her. Your voices matter. She cried, her heart pounding. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Cheers erupted as her words echoed, raw and powerful, sending shivers down her spine. Amidst the applause, she could see the bewildered CEO, eyes widening, reconsidering her claims, but just then, a figure emerged from the shadows of the crowd, a past she had long tried to forget. Her estranged father stood there, uncertainty creasing his features. Years of longing and hurt crashed over her like a tidal wave. Suddenly, the battle for recognition and the desire for family connection swirled inside her as she stood at a precipice of destiny. Would she fight for her voice to be heard, or would she seek the bond she had always yearned for? The choice hung in the air, palpable and heavy, as the reality of her world awaited. Maya's heart raced as she took in the familiar face before her, a face she had spent years trying to erase from her memory. The man who had once been a stranger in her own house stood in front of her now, a mix of regret and hesitance shadowing his features. She could hardly breathe as she struggled to reconcile the emotions flooding her. Dad? She managed to whisper, her voice trembling like a fragile leaf caught in the wind. The crowd's clamor faded momentarily, leaving just the two of them standing in the drifting warmth of recognition and hurt. Conversations buzzed around them, yet all she could hear was the chaotic rhythm of her heart. Hey, Maya! He shifted on his feet, his fingers fidgeting, an uncharacteristic response from the man she remembered as stoic and strong. "I didn't know you'd be here." The heat of his gaze was unsettling, conjuring memories of his absence during critical moments. "What do you want?" she replied, her tone sharp enough to cut through the air. Anger surged within her. After all these years, the wounds ran deep. "I wanted to see you. To apologize," he stated, earnestness breaking through the tension like a sunrise. "I messed up, sweetheart." The word sweetheart sent a ripple of pain through her. She had spent too many nights dreaming of this very moment, wishing for some kind of explanation. Yet, standing here now, she found it hard to trust his sincerity. "Apologies don't fix broken families," she snapped, regretting the coldness, but unable to suppress the defense that had built up over time. But the crowd's eyes were on them, unaware of the storm brewing at the fringes of their festive evening. The CEO observed, his sharp gaze piercing through the moment, clearly intrigued. There was a hint of vulnerability in Maya's heart, but she cloaked it with a steely resolve. "I have a lot going on right now," she said, her voice steadier. "I have something important to fight for." His brow knitted together, concern flickering in his eyes. "What do you mean?" "Your world doesn't understand mine," she said, shifting her focus from him. She gestured toward the people in the crowd, workers and families connected in shared aspirations. "They need me. I want to let them down." She turned back to the crowd, her fiery passion igniting anew. "This is more than just a fundraiser. We're standing against the odds together. They can't push us aside just because we don't wear suits. Our voices matter." Applause erupted, echoing her determination, the disbelief replaced with chemistry that electrified the air around them. For a moment, Maya forgot the pain of the past. The crowd's cheering reinvigorated her spirit. She felt the power of community wrap around her like a comfortable, protective blanket. Yet, in the back of her mind, her father's presence loomed like a shadow. "Then," he called out from behind her, his voice strained but honest, "what if I could help?" At his words, silence blanketed the crowd once more. Curiosity peaked amongst the murmurs. Maya hesitated, heart tangled. Did she dare consider the offer, or would it reopen old wounds? This was her moment, a pivotal chance for change. But what if accepting his help meant abandoning the fight she had started, the voice she had finally found? The weight of her decision settled onto her shoulders, heavy and suffocating. Would she embrace the complicated road ahead, sharing a vulnerable piece of her heart, or carve out a future on her own terms? With the murmurs of the crowd echoing like a heartbeat against her resolve, she grasped for clarity, looking back at her father. "Help me prove them wrong." Then the uncertainty of her future loomed before her, and in that uncertainty lay a question that could change everything. Would this fragile partnership bring strength, or would it shatter the pieces she had carefully put together? As she stood, facing the crowd and now the man she once called Dad, she waited for the answer to unfold. Maya's heart thudded painfully against her ribs as she locked eyes with her father again. She had invited him into this fight, but the fear of vulnerability tangled her gut like ivy. The weight of the crowd's gaze felt heavier now, their silent anticipation pushing her toward a decision. "Okay," she finally breathed, her voice breaking the suspended silence, "if you really want to help, let us see what you can do." With that, she turned to face the crowd fully, feeling the hot mix of fear and responsibility leaping within her. "People," she called out, her voice rising and cutting clean through the tension. "Today's about connection. It's about showing everyone that what matters is not where you come from, but where you choose to go. Together, we can make a difference." Her words flowed like water, the determination rising alongside them. "Bring it!" someone from the crowd shouted, igniting a ripple of laughter and energy. The atmosphere shifted, filling with a newfound hope. Maya decided, in that moment, that she would not let herself be consumed by the past. She had fought too hard for her purpose, for the workers who looked up to her. "Let us plan our next steps," she declared, turning to her father expectantly. "What do you have in mind?" A mixture of emotions played over his face: relief, hope, and a sliver of pride shining through the years of estrangement. I have connections. I know people who can help us fund more programs for your cause, support your initiative. But, it'll take trust, Maya. We have to work together, not just as father and daughter, but as partners. The word trust hung heavily in the space between them, like a fragile glass sphere balancing on a knife's edge. She bit her lip, considering everything they had failed to be. Could they really create something meaningful together? Fear whispered in the back of her mind, urging her to retreat. Trust is a two-way street, Dad, she finally replied, her voice unwavering, though every heartbeat screamed for caution. I need to know you'll follow through. No more empty promises. He nodded earnestly. I've hurt you before, Maya. I get that you might not believe in me yet. But I'm serious. This is more important than just us. This is about making a difference. With each word, Maya wrestled against the memories of disappointment, the childhood dreams shattered by his absence. Yet as she looked at the crowd, their expectant faces mirrored back her own hopes and aspirations. Perhaps this was an opportunity to rewrite their story, to craft something new if only she could let go of the past. As minutes turned into an eternity, the crowd awaited her next move. Maya felt the tension build, a push and pull between her anger and the flicker of hope she dared to hold on to. Everyone had come together for a cause bigger than themselves. Could she really risk inviting her father in? Fine, she said at last, pulling at the strings of resilience within. Let us do this. But you have to prove that I can count on you. At that, the crowd erupted into applause again, and for the first time in years, a smile broke across her father's face. Time moved slowly as Maya met his gaze, feeling the weight of their fragile alliance form in that charged space. But just as the moment swelled with possibility, an unexpected uproar broke out at the edge of the event. Someone had burst through the gathering, breathless with urgency, and when Maya caught a glimpse of their face, her heart sank. It was Mia, a friend from the community, her expression clouded with alarm. Maya. You need to come quickly. There is something happening at the factory, something awful. The laughter and cheers that had filled the air vanished in an instant. The crowd fell silent once more, eyes wide with confusion. Dread crawled up her spine as she registered the panic in Mia's voice. What do you mean? Maya couldn't help but ask, a lump of anxiety settling firmly in her throat. Before Mia could answer, a wave of fear washed over the crowd, their collective uncertainty growing thicker. The purpose of the evening felt like it was slipping from her grasp, and she couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was about to unfold would test her far beyond anything she had anticipated. Dad, she began, a new urgency in her tone. We may have to act fast. Are you with me? The question hung thick in the air, heavier than anything that had come before it. Would her father step up now, not just as a man seeking redemption, but as her ally when it mattered the most? With the crowd hanging on the edge of their seats, the moment of truth stretched before them, waiting to see if this fragile partnership could withstand the weight of the storm approaching. Maya's heart raced, adrenaline coursing through her veins as she locked eyes with her father, searching for assurance. The crowd shifted restlessly, sensing the urgency in the air. What exactly happened, Mia? She insisted, fighting to keep her voice steady. There were reports of an accident at the factory, machinery malfunctioning. A couple of workers are trapped inside. The words tumbled out, each one heavier than the last. The dread in her stomach twisted painfully, like a knot tightening further with every second. Her father stepped closer, his previously stoic demeanor cracking at the edges. We need to get there, now, he said, urgency flooding his tone. We can organize a rescue. Maya nodded, but the weight of doubt settled in the pit of her stomach. What did he know about organizing rescue operations? And what if this was just another promise tinged with inaction? But, she had to push those thoughts aside, the clarity of purpose cutting through the uncertainty. Everyone. She called to the crowd, her voice firm despite the trembling within. We have a situation at the factory. We need as many people as we can get to help. Murmurs of confusion and concern rippled through the onlookers, but then determination began to shine through. People began to rally, shifting together with purpose, ready to act for their community. Maya could feel the underlying strength of unity grounding her. "Let us stick together," she shouted, heart swelling with pride at their willingness to help. "We'll need tools, first aid kits, and anything else you can think of. Grab what you have and let us move." Mia nodded, ready to lead the way as she gestured toward the direction of the factory. Maya felt her father at her side, a presence that was both comforting and nerve-wracking. Could he really step up this time? "Let us go," he said, voice steady now. They took off, the crowd trailing behind as they charged forward, each step resonating with purpose. The sounds of the city were a blur, the adrenaline pushing them faster. As they reached the factory, the chaos unfolded before them. The air was thick with smoke, and distant shouts mingled with the steady drip of water from broken pipes. Panic coursed through Maya as visions of workers trapped in the dark corners of the factory flooded her mind. She took a deep breath, forcing herself to remain focused. "We need to locate the workers," she yelled, rallying the group. "Whoever knows the layout, help. Everyone else, secure the area." Moments later, as her father partnered with a couple of volunteers, they began to devise a plan. Maya felt a flicker of hope. Could this truly be their moment to work together? But just then, an explosion echoed from the depths of the factory, vibrating through her bones. The ground shook beneath her, and horror filled her heart. The crowd gasped collectively, eyes widening, sharp breaths catching in throats. "Maya!" Her father shouted, his eyes finding hers, filled with dread. "We have to move back." She felt a surge of instinct, a need to fight against the fear plastered on every face around her. "No. We can't leave them. We have to find them." Panic clawed at her, twisting tighter around her heart. The explosion was a reminder that the stakes were not just about her father and the past, but about real lives hanging in the balance. Maya stepped forward, shouting orders and urging everyone forward, but in that moment, she locked eyes with Mia. They shared a moment of connection. Was the fear in Mia's eyes mirroring her own? "What do we do now?" Mia asked, desperation edged into her voice. Maya took another deep breath, felt the surge of determination flood her being. "We organize a rescue," she said, voice steady as steel, "and we do it together." With the echo of the explosion still ringing in their ears, the crowd rallied behind her. It was now or never. The outcome would either bridge their past or break them apart. As they marched toward the danger ahead, a familiar figure stepped forward from the shadows. Someone not expected, someone from Maya's past. Would they be ally or foe in this moment when everything hung in the balance? The uncertainty gnawed at her as they readied themselves for what lay ahead. Maya's heart pounded as the figure emerged from the smoke. A moment of disbelief took hold. Could it really be? With a grim determination etched on the newcomer's face, she stepped closer. "Liz?" The name barely escaped her lips, but it felt like a scream in the roaring chaos. Liz had once been Maya's closest friend, but the years and their distance had changed her. She had disappeared without a word, leaving behind whispers and confusion. Now here she was, standing amidst the ruins of the factory, her eyes sharp and focused. "We don't have time for reunions," Liz snapped, urgency dripping from her words. "There are people trapped under the collapsed section. We need to act fast." Maya felt the breath hitch in her throat. "But what are you doing here?" Later, Liz insisted, not even glancing back. "We need to move. There's a couple of entrances that can take us deeper inside. I know this place." The fire in her voice cut through Maya's questions, pushing her to follow. As they ventured closer to the wreckage, flames danced wickedly, licking at the remnants of machinery and structures. The air was thick with smoke and despair, the cries of trapped workers muffled amidst the chaos. Every step felt heavier than the last, each breath a reminder of the urgency of their mission. Maya caught a glimpse of her father in the crowd, rallying a group to stash away debris and make space for the search team they were forming. For the first time in years, she felt the stirrings of hope. Maybe this could bring them closer, fulfill the promise her father had unknowingly broken many times before. Maya. Her father's call snapped her attention back to the present. We need all hands on deck. We can't waste time. With a swift nod, she joined Liz, who led them through the dimly lit pathway. Maya didn't know if she could trust Liz fully again, but as they shared glances, a mutual resolve seemed to bond them. They could have separate pasts, but their present compelled them to unite for a common cause. They paused at a heavy steel door, the sound of frantic voices echoing from within. Liz pressed her ear against it, and her brows knitted together in worry. They're in there. She looked back at Maya, urgency lacing her tone. We have to get the door open. On three, Maya said, feeling adrenaline surge through her veins. 1, 2, 3. With a mighty shove, the door creaked open, smoke billowing past them. The scene inside was heart-wrenching. A group of 4 workers huddled together, fear and exhaustion etched on their faces. Relief washed over them when they saw help arriving, but it was swiftly replaced by dread as Liz scanned for potential dangers. Stay calm. Maya called out, a calmness intermingling with her frayed nerves. We're here to get you out. Liz quickly assessed the debris blocking their exit, frustration etched on her features. If we're going to do this, we need to act now. There's no time for second-guessing. Maya felt a rush of determination. Let us break through. We can widen the gap. But as they began moving the wreckage, another tremor shook the ground. A piece of heavy equipment began to sway precariously overhead. Time slowed as everyone froze, eyes wide in terror, momentarily paralyzed by the fear of what could come next. Maya, get back. Her father shouted from the entrance. In that moment, everything seemed to blur. The reality of their situation crashed into her, drowning her in a pool of anxiety. Could they really pull this off? Would they all make it out alive? Just then, Liz grabbed her arm, yanking her back just as the equipment crashed to the ground where they had stood just seconds before. Heart racing, Maya's eyes locked on Liz's. They were in the eye of the storm, but the real test was about to come. Would they rise to save those inside or succumb to the dangers looming over them? The stakes had never been higher. Would unity be their salvation, or would the weight of their pasts shatter them under pressure? As the dust settled, Maya realized that finding her own strength was just the beginning. A flash of movement caught her eye. What was happening behind them? Was there more to this disaster than just a simple accident? Maya squinted through the haze. The shadows behind them flickered. Her heart raced again, not just from fear, but from curiosity. What was that? She whispered, her voice barely audible above the groan of twisted metal and the crackle of flames. Liz, scanning the area, didn't answer right away. Her focus narrowed, and she stepped gingerly toward the light spilling through a crack in the debris. Stay close, she instructed, her voice steady but urgent. With a nod, Maya followed. The pleas from the trapped workers faded into the background as something drew her toward the disturbance. As they moved cautiously, the sound of rustling grew louder, gritty, desperate. Just then, a figure stumbled from behind a crumpled beam, covered in soot and grime. Maya's breath caught in her throat. It was Ryan, one of the junior programmers from her dad's team. His face was smeared, eyes wide with panic. Maya. Liz. Thank God. He gasped, almost collapsing as he leaned against a shattered console. I thought you were gone. What are you doing here? Liz exclaimed, her expression a mix of relief and frustration. You should be outside away from this. I was trying to get the backup systems online, Ryan stammered. We need to keep the mainframe functioning. There are files, sensitive information. If we don't contain this, it could all go up in flames. Maya felt a rush of mixed emotions. The factory was his world, and now it was all teetering on chaos. But what about the people? They need us to focus on getting them out first. Ryan shook his head vigorously, eyes darting. I need your help. If we don't stabilize the systems, this entire building could collapse on everyone still trapped inside. Liz exchanged a glance with Maya. The air around them grew tense. On one hand, lives were at stake. On the other, the world they knew teetered on the brink. They couldn't afford to lose either. Which way to the backup room? Maya asked hesitantly, desperation creeping into her voice. Follow me. Ryan shouted, barely containing a sob of breath. He turned, leading them through a tangled path lined with flickering lights overhead. A sudden rumble shook the ground again, and the space around them shifted ominously. Maya pressed her palms against a jagged edge of the wall, steadying herself. We need to hurry, this place doesn't have much time left. As they pushed onward, the trio made their way to a narrower passage lined with dusty machinery. The atmosphere changed. It felt almost stifling, the weight of everything pressing down. Ryan glanced back, urgency sparking in his tired gaze. We're almost there. With a final turn, they entered a small room filled with humming electronics. A lone mainframe blinked, though the monitors were fractured and sparking. This is it. Ryan shouted as he rushed to the panels, hastily resetting systems and typing furiously. I can reroute power, but I'll need a few minutes. Maya bit her lip, feeling time slip away. What if we get trapped? She managed, glancing at Liz. The lingering shadows of their past tightened around her like a vice. Just then, a loud crash echoed from outside, sending tremors through the floor. Maya's stomach twisted. We don't have minutes. Can you do it faster? Just give me a second. Ryan said, sweat glistening on his brow as he focused all his energy into the task. Liz, still assessing the danger, turned to them. I'll keep watch. Just make sure you get this done. Maya nodded, but her heart raced for more than just the impending disaster. Could they really save both the people trapped and the very system that identified them all? Every second felt stretched, a battle between hope and impending doom. Would they be able to save everyone, or would their past mistakes haunt them all over again? As the ground shook once more, Maya braced herself and locked eyes with Liz. They were caught in a whirlwind of chaos, standing at the edge of a revelation they never expected. And somewhere, beneath the rubble, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were all connected by something deeper. A truth buried like the people they fought to save. What exactly had triggered all this? But before she could voice her thoughts, a loud beeping erupted from the mainframe, cutting through the thickening smoke. The reality of their situation was bending once again, ready to fracture into something even more unexpected. What lurked behind the walls of the factory? Would the truth lead to their salvation or their downfall? Maya took a deep breath, the tension flooding her body as she waited for Ryan's fingers to dance across the keyboard. The beeping intensified, a frantic timer counting down their fate. Come on, Ryan, she urged, feeling each second press down like a heavyweight. Ryan's face was a mask of concentration. If I can just bypass this last fail-safe, he murmured, barely noticing the chaos surrounding them. Maya's heart pounded in her chest, not just for him but for every soul still trapped below the debris. Suddenly, another tremor shook the ground, this one more violent. A shard of metal fell from the ceiling, clattering dangerously close. Liz cursed under her breath, her eyes darting. We can't stay here much longer. We need to move. Just a little longer. Ryan shot back, his voice strained. Maya glanced at Liz, gauging her expression. Fear bled into determination on her friend's face. You know we can't keep risking this. We have to prioritize. We need to help those people. Ryan looked up, his eyes swirling with conflict. I can't leave this unfinished. But then, an unexpected jolt rang through their space, and the lights flickered. For a moment, Maya thought they might fail, might lose everything. She glanced around the room, noting the lines of circuitry, the glowing screens, and spotted something out of place, a large, open panel on the wall. Wait. What if I help? Maybe you can use two of us. Ryan hesitated, the weight of the flash drive in his palm evident as he considered her suggestion. You'll have to follow the circuit diagrams, but just point me in the right direction. With urgency in his gestures, Ryan directed her toward the open panel. Just there. Pull those wires and connect them like so. Maya felt a surge of adrenaline as she jumped to the task. She grasped the lingering wires, the ashy scent of smoke clawing at her throat. Their world grew more dangerous with every blast of sound and pressure from the crumbling building. The panic of the trapped people echoed in her heart. Liz kept a lookout, her posture tense, fingers digging into the edges of the console in case they had to flee. You guys need to hurry. I can feel the walls shifting. I'm almost there. Ryan shouted, his fingers racing over the keys one last time. Just then, another loud crash reverberated through the air, this time accompanied by a shower of dust from the ceiling. Maya's hands shook as she gripped the wires, connecting them while simultaneously pushing aside her fear. You can do it, Ryan. I believe in you. The beeping intensified again, each sound echoing like a countdown. With one final clang, Ryan pressed the last key hard, and the monitors blinked, flickering into full illumination. A deafening silence fell. Then a melodic hum began, growing in strength until it rippled through the room. The backup systems were online, lights surged, and the vibrations eased. Ryan let out a shaky breath. It worked. We did it. But just as relief washed over them, another tremor rattled the factory. Maya felt the ground shift beneath her, an unmistakable sign that the building could still collapse. Now what? She gasped, her pulse racing again as she turned to Liz. What do we do? We have to find a way to guide the rescue teams to those still trapped, Liz said urgently, gripping her arm. We're not finished yet. It's just begun. Maya felt the weight of uncertainty settle on her shoulders. Even though they had stabilized the systems, the rescue was their next mission. But then, in the midst of their chaos, she replayed Ryan's earlier words in her mind about the sensitive information. What had triggered everything? What secrets lay in the data they had saved? Guys, Maya whispered, fear bubbling back up. What if we exposed something we shouldn't have? What happens now? The tension hung in the air, thick and potent, as they prepared to face not just the factory's ruins but the truth that had veiled their lives all along. What new revelations lay in wait, hidden in the remnants of this crumbling world? And could they uncover the depths of those secrets before it was too late? Maya's heart raced with the weight of her words. The atmosphere thickened, nearly suffocating her as she searched Ryan and Liz's eyes for reassurance. The factory around them groaned ominously. Dust trickled down like tears from the ceiling, reminding them they were on borrowed time. Exposed? Liz echoed, her brow furrowing. What exactly did we activate? What were they hiding? Ryan wiped the sweat from his forehead, still breathless from their recent victory. I don't know, but whatever it is, we need to figure it out. If there are people out there, those who are responsible, this could be bigger than we thought. Liz's voice blazed with urgency. We have to move. If this building is coming down, we need a safe exit and a way to connect to the outside. We can't just sit here. Maya nodded, adrenaline coursing through her veins. Right, let us find a way to communicate with the rescue teams. If they're out there, they need to know exactly where to go. Ryan hesitated but then turned his attention to one of the flickering monitors. There. He pointed. We can access the emergency signal from here. I just need a minute more to get it working. Make it quick. Liz urged, her eyes darting to the shifting shadows around them. Maya took a moment, glancing out of the open panel toward the dimly lit corridor. I'll check for a way out, she offered, looking at Ryan. We need to be ready to bolt. Stay close, okay? Ryan cautioned, a hint of fear flickering in his eyes. She nodded and slipped out of the room, heart pounding as her senses heightened. The air was thick with acrid smoke, and memories of laughter and life echoed in her mind, a painful reminder of what the factory once was. Now it was a twisted labyrinth of darkness and danger. As she crept down the narrow passage, she spotted a broken stairwell in the distance, flanked by crumpled machinery. The way was clear if only for now. A faint wail from somewhere below made her heart drop. They had to act fast. Maya hurried back to the room. There's a stairwell. We can use it to get to the main floor and signal for help. Perfect. Ryan replied, frantically tapping keys in a rhythm that seemed to mimic their frantic heartbeats. Just a few more seconds. Come on. As apprehension tightened around them, Maya felt the desperate urgency pushing her forward. Was it just the factory's imminent collapse, or was it the very secrets they were brushing against that urged her to keep going? Suddenly, an earth-shattering roar erupted outside, drowning Ryan's voice. The main AI system crackled, alarms blaring, and Maya stumbled backward, hoping the lights wouldn't die again. Then it hit her, something dark and unnerving. What if those secrets involve more than just the building? The dreadful thought unfurled in her mind. What if we uncovered something deadly, something that people will kill for? Ryan looked up, terror filling his eyes. What are you saying? It was Liz who responded, her voice steady. If they were hiding something, it would mean they want to keep it hidden at all costs. As the sound of sirens filtered through the walls, Maya's resolve solidified. Then we expose it. If we have the chance, we'll share what we know, even if it means putting ourselves in danger. Ryan finally finished the setup, breathless but determined. I've got the signal going. It's just a matter of waiting. We need to find out what really happened here. But as they stood in the room, the sense of clarity began to shift. The power of the truth loomed large, more perilous than they anticipated. Would they truly be able to uncover the reality behind these secrets? Maya could feel it, a storm brewing on the horizon, both inside and outside the factory, and the battle was just beginning. What awaited them beyond the crumbling structure? Would the truth bring liberation or destruction? Maya stood frozen for a moment, her heart echoing the alarms blaring around them. Dust swirled in the dim light, dancing like specters of the factory's past. The sirens felt like a warning but also a beacon, stirring a tide of determination deep within her. Ryan, do you think the signal is enough? Maya asked, her voice strained under the layers of fear and urgency. What if nobody hears us? Shoo. Ryan replied, raising a finger to his lips as he listened intently. Just give it a second. The echoes of the factory's groans settled momentarily, and Maya strained to hear something beyond the chaos. Was it possible? People outside, perhaps already on their way. The thought filled her with a flicker of hope. Before she could voice her uncertainty, Liz turned abruptly towards the door. We should really move. If they're coming, we can't just wait around. Maya nodded, deeply aware of their time running thin. Right. Let's check that stairwell. We can split up. Ryan, if you see anything on that monitor, shout for us. Just don't leave me, okay? He muttered, his fingers still darting nervously across the keyboard. Maya and Liz exchanged glances, knowing the risks of separating, but the alternative felt worse. They pushed through the door together, the acrid smell of smoke intensifying as they stepped into the corridor. As they ran, the darkness seemed to close in on them, shadows gaping like hungry mouths. They turned a corner, ducking past forgotten machinery, and stumbled upon the stairwell Maya had seen earlier. Broken steps descended into a void. Liz peered down into the flickering shadows. It looks unstable, Liz hesitated, glancing back at Maya. Are you sure this is the way? Maya's bravery surged, fueled by adrenaline. We don't have another option. If we don't get out, we'll never uncover what they were hiding. Will be part of the secret instead of shedding light on it. With a deep breath, they ventured down the precarious staircase, each step promising both an escape and more uncertainty. As they reached the landing, a cold draft swept past them, a reminder that something unearthly loomed beyond. What if we're too late? Liz's voice squeaked, echoing her growing unease. We can't think like that, Maya insisted, clutching her friend's wrist. We keep moving. We've come too far. Suddenly, the lights flickered, and just like that, the haunting hum of machinery became a growl, vibrating through the walls. Doors rattled, echoing their impending doom. Did you hear that? Ryan shouted from above, urgency palpable in his voice. Something's coming. You need to. An earth-shattering crash silenced him, rattling further debris. The air thickened with desperation as the shadows stretched ominously, ready to consume any light. Maya, what now? Liz asked, panic creeping into her tone as she grabbed Maya's arm. If we don't find an exit. But before Maya could answer, a low rumble vibrated through the ground. A fresh wave of dust poured down, and a loud siren blared, sounding from somewhere close. Their eyes widened in fear, realizing it wasn't the factory's alarms. It was something much worse approaching, a far more threatening presence. We can't panic, Maya urged, her heart racing with each beat. We keep going. Just then, the emergency signal Ryan had activated crackled back to life, an abrupt burst of static cutting through their fear. Maya. Liz. Don't stop. The energy in the air flipped, as if the shadows inhaled sharply, preparing to strike. Ryan. Maya called out, desperate. What is happening? His voice faltered. They know. They're coming for us. The walls seemed to pulse with a rhythm of fear and urgency. The vast unknown beckoned to them, whispering from every corner. What dark truth lay hidden underneath the surface? Maya met Liz's frantic eyes, and they silently agreed it was now or never. As they bolted back up the stairs, a surge of terror gnawed at their heels. Would they get caught in the factory's secrets, or would truth prove stronger than the shadows closing in? A quick glance over her shoulder confirmed it. They weren't alone. Someone was hunting them in those very halls, and suddenly, as they surged forward, Maya wondered had they unleashed something far worse than they had intended? Maya's heart raced as she pushed herself against the door leading to the stairwell. The echoes of panic and urgency filled her ears, blending with the tremors reverberating beneath her feet. Keep moving. She urged, finding strength in her own shaky resolve. With Liz at her side, they barreled up the trembling staircase. Hope flared unexpectedly, lighting the way amidst the chaos. Whatever lay behind them, the secrets, the dangers, they had to face it head-on if they were to save the lives still trapped inside the factory. Do you think Ryan's okay? Liz shouted, urgency underscoring her words. What if they catch him? He's smart, he knows how to survive, Maya replied, forcing determination into her voice, though anxiety gnawed at her. They reached the landing, and the heavy steel door loomed ahead, their escape from the chaos just beyond. Maya swung the door open, and the chilling wind stung her face like shards of ice. They emerged into the flickering light of the factory floor. The air tasted burnt, thick with ash and debris, but her spirit surged when she caught sight of the crowd gathered outside, firemen and community members rallying together. We're here. She cried, her voice battling against the echoes of destruction that still reverberated behind them. The tension in the crowd was palpable as they whipped their heads toward Maya and Liz, their fearful gazes shifting between the two girls and the building behind them. The fire chief pushed through the onlookers. We need to know how many are still trapped inside. Her heart raced, the weight of every decision pressing hard on her chest. There are workers, at least 4, she started but hesitated. The knowledge of uncovering the truth twisted in her gut. And there might be sensitive information about why this happened. We found something in the systems. Something they're desperate to hide. The crowd shifted uneasily, the chief's expression hardened. Once we have the workers out, we'll deal with everything else later, he said. Maya felt an urge to shout that the danger was here and now, that the reality of the factory's collapse and any known secrets could worsen their situation. Just then, someone shouted from behind the fire trucks. Maya. The voice cut through the noise, and she turned to find Ryan emerging from the shadows, battered but alive, his face smeared with soot. "Ryan. You're okay." Relief washed over her as her heart swelled. He rushed to her side, breathless but triumphant. "I got the backup systems online. That might buy us some time," he said, excitement shining through his exhaustion. But there could be something more. Maya started, but Ryan interrupted, words tumbling out. "I need to get everyone outside before the structure collapses further. There's no time." Reluctantly, she nodded, knowing he was right. The truth they'd uncovered could wait. The priority was saving lives. They could figure it out later. Just then, an explosion of sound erupted from deeper within the factory, followed by an unsettling groan of metal that made everyone freeze. The chief turned back to the crowd, his authority fueling resolve. "Everyone listen. We're launching a rescue operation. We need teams to move in." Before Maya could catch her breath, she felt a firm hand on her shoulder. It was her father, urgency painted across his features. "Maya. I need you to help guide us through." "Liz," Ryan stick close. "We'll communicate with the teams inside, but I need your eyes." Maya blinked in confusion. "You really want me to lead?" "Absolutely. You've already demonstrated you know this place. Your instincts can save those workers. We can't afford any more mistakes," he replied, her heart fluttered, mixing fear and a newfound sense of purpose. She nodded, feeling the connections of family, trust, and community swell as if appearing for the first time under a blinding light. "Okay. Let us move," she declared. The fire chief nodded, assembling a group of volunteers behind them. As they headed back in, Maya took a deep breath, determination coursing through her veins. The factory loomed like a giant monster, its shadow heavy over them. But as they pressed forward, the bond between them strengthened with each step. The past was still there, but it didn't overshadow their present ambitions of unity and strength. With her father at her side and Ryan and Liz following close behind, they navigated through the twisting corridors of smoke and danger. The air grew thick and acrid, memories of laughter and life intertwining with the urgency of the moment. And in that moment, she felt them all come alive. Their desire to fight for more was boundless. As they neared the last known location of the trapped workers, Maya felt an electric charge surge through her. They moved with a shared purpose, but each step felt heavy, laden with the unspoken truth dwelling inside the walls. Then they paused. There it was, the sounds of muffled voices rising like whispers of hope. Straining to listen, Maya caught snippets of hasty conversation, desperation piercing their hearts. They were close. With every breath, they could almost reach them. The flickering lights above cast eerie shadows against the walls, but she didn't hesitate. "Don't worry. We're coming," Maya shouted, her voice steady, anchoring both the trapped workers and her own emotions. For every moment of uncertainty, a flicker of courage flared inside her. She could feel it in her bones. This place, this factory, the weight of its significance would change everything. As they pressed forward into the chaos, she realized that she wasn't just fighting for lives in danger. She was fighting for their voices to be heard, for the truths hidden in the machinery. And she was ready to expose every last one of them. "Are you with me?" she called to Liz and Ryan, excitement surging within her. "Always," Liz replied, her voice fierce. "Together," Ryan shouted, and in that moment, the walls didn't seem so heavy anymore. Maya smiled for the first time since they started, a radiant light shining through the rubble, and together, they would forge ahead into a brighter future. Now, as they prepared to extract those trapped, she realized they were no longer just a delivery girl or a ghost from the past. They were warriors, armed with purpose, ready to claim their truth. These moments of urgency, fear, and passion wrapped around them like a comforting inescapable force. And as they moved to confront the shadows, she knew that ultimately, it was the choice to stand together that would carve their destinies into history. If you felt that surge of inspiration, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for stories that touch the heart and transform lives. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these stories alive. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful transformation. Comment below how this ending made you feel and share your own stories of courage and community. Your voice matters.